Hello folks, it's May 12, 2023. I'm out here on Truman Lake. I'm gonna pull some crankbaits, see if I can catch a few crappie today. I'm just out here on a big flat. I'm kind of going in and out of some ditches trying to see if I can establish a pattern. I've caught 2 crappie so far. I haven't been out here very long. Thought I had my cameras running, but I didn't, so I guess you won't get to see them. But I'm running 6 bandit crankbaits, various colors. I'll show them to you here in a little bit, but I've just got them spread out, flatlining, not running any planer boards right now. So we'll see if I can catch another one, get it on film. Yep. That a fish? Yes, sir. There's one. Is he still there? Come to the surface. Yep. Oh, little bitty one. Little bitty one. Well, I said that. It's a keeper. Look at there on that old chartreuse shad. That's the first fish I caught today before I turned my camera on like an idiot. Was on that chartreuse shad. So I've put another one on. I got 2 of them on now. The second one was on that sun perch. Let's see how long this fish is. If that's a keeper or not. Oh yeah, fish is 10 inches long. I'm gonna put him on a stringer. But first, I'm gonna get this rod back out. Like I always do, I'll just cast it straight out to the side. Rotate this rod in. And then that way, there's no risk of those lines crossing each other. This one will go on the stringer is number 3. That second fish I caught was a real nice one, 13.5 inches. That was on the sun perch. I haven't been out here about 30 minutes. That's 3 fish. Just experimenting, kind of fishing in an area I've never really trolled crankbaits in before. Just a big flat. Got a lot of ditches in it, some humps and valleys, and I'm just going around trying different depths to see if I can find some crappie. I'm not finding any stacked up anywhere. Water temperature is 68.4 degrees. I would think most of these fish on this lake, I believe, are in the post-spawn pattern. They've been spawning the last few weeks. They've been on the bank. I'm sure there's still some on the bank, but I think the majority of them have probably spawned out, and I was hoping they'd kind of pull out, sit over a little deeper water and rest up. That's when I can usually start picking them off with crankbaits pretty good. So we'll see what happens. There's fish. I was making a turn. I came up on top of that hump or high spot and I just didn't see much, so I turned and I was coming off the edge of it. Come up, fish. About 32 feet of water. It's not coming up like a crappie. Maybe a white bass. What is it? Yep, white bass. Didn't fight like a crappie. Nice little white bass though. It's on that orange crush. The old white bass like the orange crush. There you go. I'm not keeping any white bass. I was just thinking about pulling out of here and going into a cove. I've been trolling on this flat for a while and it just hadn't been that productive. I think I will pull them in. We'll go to a cove up here I've caught some crappie in before. Haven't been in there in years, but we're going to take a look at it. Okay, folks, I've made a move into a cove. I'll show you my full lineup now. On this rod, I've got the old sun perch. Mortal enemy to the crappie, as my old buddy Tommy Scarless would say. I just throw that out there and I'm going to put that on the inside rack. Got my towel all wrapped up. Okay, my second bait, as I told you, is the old sun perch, which I've got a lot of faith in. Throw that to the outside just as far as I can throw it. Give it a little extra. Move it to the inside. I've got the old orange crush. Throw it way out to the outside. I'll just lay it out flat, 90 degrees to the boat. I'm running 1.6 miles an hour. That's just my confidence speed. We'll start there, see what happens. May have to adjust it. Okay, and then I've got my blue chrome. These are all Bandit 300s, if I didn't already say that. On the inside, another chartreuse shad. Another chartreuse shad. You watch, they'll start hitting everything but a chartreuse shad now. It's all right, I can switch them. Do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to lay this one down flat, 90 degrees outside of the boat. And there we go. Let's catch them. Doesn't hurt to make a few turns where you're pulling these crankbaits. It just brings them up and down. When you turn to the right, the ones on the right side will float up because they're going slower, and when you turn to the left, the ones on the left will ride up because you're going slower, and the ones on the right will stay down because they're going faster. Sometimes you can find out whether they want it going slower and higher or faster and deeper. So you need to pay attention when you're making turns is the key. Let's make a turn. Sometimes fish will be following those baits and just following along, and you make a turn, and that change in speed and depth will trigger them to bite. There's fish. That's crappie. He's coming up to the top. Little crappie. Little crappie. It's on that chartreuse shad. Telling you folks, they like that color. And that fish is just too little to keep. Now look at that. You think a little fish won't hit a crankbait? That crankbait almost as long as that fish is. There's a fish. I believe that's a fish. Not going to be very big, I don't think. Well, I don't know. Come up. Not coming up like that's a little crappie. Well, maybe a keeper. Yep, look at there. Chartreuse shad. That one's a keeper. For sure. Trying not to run into the bank. Coming up on a point here. I'm trying to get a little closer to the bank, just experimenting. Take him. All right. That's on the outside rod. Getting up pretty shallow for these crankbaits. Maybe that's what they want. There's a fish. Is he still there? Yep. May have to stay up here closer to the bank. They may not have pulled off like I was thinking they might have. Yeah, that's crappie. He's up on the surface skiing. Yes, sir. That's on the old sun perch. Again, not a monster, but a keeper. Fun one to catch on the crankbait. Okay, and like always, I'll just throw her out to the side there, move these over, and then that one will come in and track right in there. Some shad in here. A lot of shad right there, and there's fish. I'm telling you folks, you find the fish, or find the shad, you'll find the crappie. I knew he'd hit me right about when I need to make a turn, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. Well, maybe I am, but I didn't really mean it. Oh yeah. Old Orange Crush, they're hitting a little bit of everything today. I like it. They've hit more chartreuse shad, but that's because I've got more chartreuse shad on. Yeah. Come on, any more? Here's another benefit to that method of mine where you throw out to the side. See, I'm making a sharp turn to the right. If you had to try to weave those in among those other lines, you'd never be able to do it. But you can just always throw it out to the side like that and she'll track right in where it ought to be. No risk of getting them crossed. There is a risk of running into the shoreline if you don't know what you're doing and don't watch what you're doing, I should say. Ooh, brush pile down there with some fish on it. We crash into that, we probably lose our crankbait, but we're going to. Let's see what happens. You bounce off of it, might catch you a fish. Right there it is, I'd bet. Well, it's a fish. I'll bet he came off of that brush pile. That feels like a good fish. Yep. The graph does not lie, folks. Does not lie. I want to cut this point here. I need to go left. There you go, chartreuse shad. That one's not very big. Well, 9.5 inches. just big enough. I love catching these fish on crankbait. I really do. I need to do more of it. I got hooked into that live scope. I've been spending a lifetime trying to figure that thing out, but I'm gonna get back to some of my old roots. I'm gonna do some more videos on trolling jigs, long lining jigs. Got a video on that. It's got a lot of views. A lot of people watch that, and I like to do it. And this would be a great place to do it, and a good time. I ought to come out here tomorrow. I probably won't. I'm going to try to learn to catch some hybrid bass. That's my next goal. But I think you could come in here, troll long line some jigs right up along the bank here. I bet you could catch some fish. Okay, folks, that was lucky. I had 5 baits hung up in a brush pile. I stopped. I didn't go back, but I stopped, put it on spot lock, and was able to get all but one pulled out. That was lucky, but we got them. So I got to tie on a new one. I'll just show you. I've shown you on my earlier videos, I always run a red swivel. I buy just number 12 red swivels from Bass Pro Shop. Got to order them. I never can find them in the store, it seems like. But I just tie them on with a Palomar knot. I run a swivel. Number 1, I think it gives the bait better action. And number 2, it's easier then when you're changing out baits to just take one off and put another one on. So that's it, just a little red swivel. Now, I'll tell you what. Fred Pittman sent me some baits. He custom paints baits. He sent me some baits. I hadn't even had a chance to use them, but he's got one there. It's called Rayburn Red, and I'm telling you, that's a good looking bait. And this time of the year, the crawdaddies are coming out, and the fish like them. I'm going to tie one on. Thank you for sending those, Fred. Sorry it's taking me so long to try them out. Boy, that's a good looking bait. I mean, custom painted. That'll be on the rod. Again, I put tape on the bottom of all my rods, different colored tape, so I can keep track of what baits are on what. So that bait's going to be on the rod with the green tape. And since I rotate them, you can sure lose track of them quick. All right, let's get back out here and do something like we know what we're doing. I'll tell you folks, I love these rods for pulling crankbaits. Sam's Super Salt B&M, 7.5 foot. That's the length I like when I'm doing this flatlining. You may wonder why I've got a little short dip net in here pulling crankbaits. One thing I've learned about pulling crankbaits, catfish like them too. You're going to catch some catfish, and inevitably, if you don't have a net, you get them up here close to the boat and you're trying to reach down and get them by hand or with some grippers, and they'll pop that 8-pound line and you'll lose your crankbait. So I've learned to bring a little net just to net the catfish and save your bait. Just a little tip from experience. Fred Pittman's baits. He's got a company called Delta's Custom Crankbaits, I believe it's what it's called. I'll put a link to it in the description. He makes some unbelievable baits. They're shaped a lot like a Bandit 300, but man, he's got some beautiful colors, hand painted. He'll make whatever color you want. There's fish. Yep. There's one out there too. Got two on. Of course, I need to make a turn. Uh-oh. Need to make a turn. Oop. I think I might have. Oh man, that one came off. That was a good one too. At least 3 pounds, of course. This one's little and he's skiing. Right out at the mouth of this cove. Well, gosh dang, that one came off. Another 3 pounder. What's going on? All of them that get off are 3 pounds. Who can prove you wrong? There's fish. Yep. Oh, that feels like a better fish. That's a crappie. Yeah, I think it is. Man, that feels like a really good one. Almost said dandy. Wow, that's a crappie. It's a really good one. He's not acting like a crappie though. Oh man. Yeah, he's got a hook in his mouth, but also got one down in his gullet. That's why he's spinning. Made him feel bigger than he is. Boy, I am way off track. I'll just go to the other side of the cove. Chartreuse shad. Every time I pull crankbaits, it seems like I say that an awful lot. Now that one's still got eggs in her. Nice fish. Nice fish. Okay, I lost one. So I'm gonna put on that old blue and chartreuse. But when I lost one, I killed my motor and slowed down. And that's when that last crappie I caught hit it. So it makes me wonder if they want it going a little slower. Or if maybe it was just following it and that change in speed triggered the bite. But I'm gonna slow down just a little bit. I'm gonna go down to 1.4 and just see if that makes a difference. Oh, there's a fish. I got in there pretty tight and got a bite. Must have to get in tight to get a bite. Is that a fish or is that on the bottom? I think that's a fish. I was in 18 feet of water. I'm gonna get back in that 18 feet. All right, there's one. Guess what color? I'm not even gonna say it. Let's see if there's one on this one. How can I get in tight to get a bite when I'm reeling in fish and my motor's taking me elsewhere? I don't know if there's a fish on that or not. That could just, yeah, there is. By golly. Okay. 18 feet. Look here, that's on the old Fred Pittman. Crawfishy. They like it. Thank you for the bait, Fred. Let's see if it's going to be big enough. I don't know. Yeah, It's over 9 inches, but barely. This other one I had here, now it's a keeper. I'm gonna lay him in the floor till I get old Fred back out here to catch another one. Where's my other rod? All right, 18 feet. Come on, come on, come on. Too deep, too deep. Sure wish I had you all with me so you could either run the rods or run the boat. All right, let's put this fish in the box. I don't know if I've said it or not, only about 100 times. I love catching crappie on crankbaits. All right, let's get back in here. This bank ought to be better. Frankly, the wind's kind of blowing against it. It's blowing out, but it's blowing more against this bank than that bank, and that's probably got a lot to do with it. Get in the wind like that, it'll blow the shad and the bait fish up there, and the crappie will be up there. Oh, there we go. There we go. I just hit that 18-foot mark. There, oh, is that on the bottom? No, I'm at 19 feet, shouldn't be. Should be a crappie. This one's a crappie. That's that blue and chartreuse I just tied on. Let's see. Yeah, he's skiing. I think he just came off. No, he's still there. Boy, if I could stay right in that, that's where that, set that track, drive through there, set a track right at the exact distance or depth you want, and then just turn it on and you'll be there. Chartreuse shad. That one's a keeper, but I'm not keeping it. Too little. Too little. I'm in my Sea Arc Protege doing this, and I'll tell you, I loved it. I love trolling crankbaits and trolling period out of this boat. You sit down in it. I feel safe. I don't feel like I'm gonna fall off the back deck of my bass boat. Got plenty of room to move around. This is a great boat for trolling. All right, I'm gonna have to turn around here. That wind's blowing right at my back. I'm gonna turn around and go with the wind, but I'm down to 1.3 miles an hour. So I'm gonna have to put my power pole paddles down to give me some friction, or that wind's gonna blow me faster than I wanna go. Okay, I got my paddles out, so when I turn and get into the wind, I can drop them down in the water. I like going with the wind if I can. Obviously, it takes less power on the trolling motor. Sometimes that old wind's blowing too strong to go with it. You got to go against it. But these paddles will make a big difference. All right. I'm kind of turning in or going with the wind now, so put those paddles down. That'll create a little drag. My motor will be able to keep us at the right speed and direction. Fish. Yep. Of course, don't you always get bit when you need to make a turn? Come on, sweetheart. Now look at there, old Fred's crawfish. Crawfish color, that red one, they're liking that, man. I mean, they are liking it. Fred, I'm gonna be calling. You're gonna have to send me some more. 1.3 mile an hour now, folks. 18 feet. Seems like a good combo today. Wind's kind of died over here right against this bank, or it's not as bad, so I think I can raise these paddles up. We'll see what the trolling motor does without the drag. There's fish, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's one there too. Got a little hot spot here. Now I'm in 22 foot of water right here. I'm getting ready to come around this point. Yep, that's a keeper, chartreuse shad. Is this it? Yep. Yep. That's the old orange crush. Orange crush will catch one too. I don't want to get hung up on this point. That's where I got in that big brush pile a while ago. Fool me once, but don't fool me twice. All right, there's one. There's the other one. I'm on a good spot, so I'm gonna leave them laying there for just a minute. Get these rods back out. I wanted to fish this point. And then I'll put the little fishies in the box. It's on the inside rod there. So I know what to do about that. There we go. Whew, I know one thing, it was cloudy, and it's been cloudy, but I didn't put any sunscreen on, and now my face is fried. You know, I'm smart enough to know you should put sunscreen on even if it's cloudy, but I'm smart enough to know it, but I guess not smart enough to do it. Is that a fish? I believe that's a fish. Sitting here trying to untangle the mess I had, and I caught a crappie. Look at there. And you know what, folks? That's a limit, I believe. Nope, I need one more. I need one more. That's the only on the old blue and yellow. Let's get her right back out there. Get back to my mess. There's a fish. Same bait. Same bait. I'm telling you, this is a magic bait today. Magic bait. Bandit 300 chartreuse shad. Yep. There we go. It's not big, but you know what? It's a limit. And I'm going to quit. Well, there you have it, folks. We caught a limit pulling crankbaits. First limit on crankbaits this year. It's fun. I'm looking forward to doing more of it. I'm gonna do more of this kind of stuff this summer than stick my nose in that live scope. I can't get away from the live scope. I like it too much, but I'm gonna get back to doing some crankbaits and pulling some jigs and spider rigging and doing some of that stuff. It's been a fun day. I think the key was 18 to 20 feet deep, running about 1.3 to 1.4 mile an hour. The biggest one I caught today, I didn't have the camera on. It's too stupid to turn on the camera, but oh well. Anyway, we caught some. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I really hope you'll hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, encourages me to do more videos, but I appreciate you being with me. Keep watching. I'll be back.